It's working on it. All right. So our YouTube video is up and running. All right. And we'll give that link to you all. I'm going to put that in our chat. But hey, everyone, here we are.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
As of right now, there's only a couple of people watching, but anyone can feel free to chime in our chat on the YouTube channel. And what I will do is I will be monitoring that. If anyone else wants to monitor that as well, they can. But I will be monitoring that and sending that, any of those questions forward for us to talk about. So we have myself, Brandon Ayton, Matthew Orr, the creative director and co-owner of Wedding Games. I'm the business director and co-owner of Wedding Games. Felt puppet dance. And we have John Kennedy, one of our primary writers on this excellent campaign, and we have Mike Muma.
Muma.
Yeah, it will always be Muma to me. But no, Mike Muma, who is our artist, who did all of the excellent work for Heckin Good Doggos and is doing the custom art cards as well for all of our backers and creators who have contributed to the card deck, as well as some of the custom art that has been pledged as an add-on. And then we, last but most certainly not least, is Sarah Orr Ayton. You may see some of those familiar names. Sarah Orr as in sister to Matthew Orr, and Ayton as in spouse and significantly better half to me. And Sarah is another one of our fantastic writers, has written fiction for a number of our games, and is also a very talented editor, and will be probably taking a stab at Heckin Good Doggos. So we will also have additional writers and creators coming in throughout the night, but really our goal here is just to hang out and follow the campaign as it wraps up. And our campaign has just under 1 hour left. I feel as though we need to have like a big countdown clock, like it's
I'm surprised you don't have one.
Dick Clark's New York Rock, or what is it, New Year's Rockin' Eve or whatever.
He'd have to be a good live streamer to do that.
I would. Right now I'm just live streaming Zoom to Facebook or to YouTube. I guess I could have done Facebook too, but we're doing this instead. Yeah, I'm not a fancy. I'm no Doug Shoot, right?
Who is though? I mean, except for Doug.
Except for Doug. Yeah. So, as I said, we have just under an hour left, and we are $19 away from one of our fetch goals, as we've been calling them throughout this campaign. One thing I'm going to do I'm going to send a quick update to our backers, just letting them know that we are live now. Sending them that link, and see if we can get anyone else who wants to come join us.
It's funny how many like social media networks there are, and remembering to share the link everywhere so that everybody can see them. Like, I've got all my friends on Facebook, got all my friends on Twitter. I've got like 5 people on Instagram, which is a personal best for me.
Yeah. It was funny because when one of the things that we've really prided ourselves on is the level of artistic talent that we work with. We love all of our artists and they do amazing stuff. And our products and projects really kind of punch above their weight for especially as young of a company as we are. And I remember when Matt was like, "Hey, we should really do an Instagram account," and I was like, "I don't understand Instagram. I'm a grumpy old man," And Matt was like, "I mean, it's really all about sharing images, and we really like our art, so why wouldn't we?" And I'm like, "Okay." It's one of those things that like I have a personal Instagram, but I update it like once every like 5 months.
I'm putting a post to Instagram right now.
Oh, look at that.
Fancy.
Oh man. Yeah, so one of the things that we've done this before. We did this with Zhang Shi, Blood in the Banquet Hall. We did this with Into the Weird and Wild. And really it's just an opportunity for us as creators to kind of get on here and talk and chat about some of the cool things that we experienced during the campaign and some of our thoughts. And again, give our backers and supporters an opportunity to just ask us questions. But I guess I want to kind of kick this off with just a very brief introduction to Heckin Good Doggos, being a game of dogs doing dog stuff. That's kind of how we've been promoting it. That's the subtitle to the game, I guess. Which that came out of a conversation at Gen Con a couple years ago with Sarah. And so Sarah, I'd kind of like to give you an opportunity to obviously you talk to Matt and I all the time, being related to us, but I'd like to give you an opportunity to kind of like chat about your history in gaming and what kind of led you to your involvement early on in Heckin Good Doggos.
Well, I don't feel like I have much history in gaming because I don't actually really play role-playing games that much. But I do like telling stories. So the games that I am drawn to are more story-driven. And I don't know, I just thought it'd be fun to pretend to be a dog and do dog stuff because dogs are funny and they do weird stuff that like humans don't get to do normally. So yeah, when I don't even know where we were, if we were driving back from Gen Con or if we were still in the hall like breaking down, but I feel like the idea just kind of came out of nowhere where I was like, you know what, you should do a game that's just like dogs doing dog stuff. And Brandon was like, yes, we should do a game that's dogs doing dog stuff.
I think it was right after Gen Con, because I think right immediately when it was just a fragment of an idea, Brandon said, "Hey, we got this great idea. You want to do the artwork for it?" And I talk to Brandon every day, but and so like, yeah, like he told me, and I'm like all excited about, let's do it. Like, we're gonna do it soon. He's gonna do it soon. And then 20 years later, we finally did it. It was great.
It does seem like 20 years later.
Yeah,
it
was like 3.
Well, yeah, there's
I believe
we get a pass
project,
at least for one of those years, because
the project was officially announced at Gen Con in 2019.
So 3 years. I was right.
Yeah, that's right. 20 years.
Wait, what year is it?
It's not
4
Gen Con
years ago.
2022 yet. It's 2.5 years, Mike.
25 years.
That's probably what I said.
He's an artist. He's not a mathematician.
Feels like we're using.
I don't do numbers.
Feels like we're using dog logic here, where it's like, oh, it's been like 90 years since
we
started.
Right.
It's
been
closer
gone
to
5
20
minutes.
years in dog years. So
Yeah.
I guess that all checks out. That checks out, John. uh and
I
Yeah.
remember when you and I, when we were just talking about it, because we both just had like random ideas about dogs. And then we both bonded over our love of this comic, which I always blank on the name from.
Beasts
Why
of
am I-
Burden.
It Beasts of Burden, yeah. And it was just one of those things where like the idea just like, because I think everybody had great ideas and then we all came together. It's like we were all like chefs with the different ingredients. And then we all sat down and then it's like, we could actually make a pretty good meal out of this. And he's wandered off. He's right there.
I mean, we're all the rest
there
of us
it is.
here.
Beast of Burden. Sorry. No, you're not wrong. It's there have been so many good ideas in this in this space and during the course of this project, from like the little micro settings and things that we have, and like just little things that Mike, you've put in with the art, just little goofy things like there's one image that's on the campaign page of like the dog trying to get out of the house so he can go hang out with the other pack, and like he's standing on the other dog, like trying to open the door, like just little things that
I had so much fun doing the artwork.
Yeah.
And actually, like I was going through the job list, like I was excited about doing each and every one, like just like goofy dogs being goofy. I actually got annoyed when I started getting into the specialties parts, like where like all of a sudden where we're having dogs not being, I guess where they're like medieval dogs and like supernatural dogs, which is normally the thing I'm excited to do the most, but like I was having so much fun having regular dogs being I was just having the great. My favorite piece is like where the dogs are looking up in the tree. There are two squirrels.
I love that piece.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
You're the bulldog and the chihuahua are just looking up, and then you have like the squirrels like go that way, or whatever they're saying. But I love it. It's great.
Yeah, it's so stupid but charming at the same time, and like I feel like I can't take credit for it because it was all right there on the page. Well, not really. I mean, you didn't really give me like specific direction, like draw this. But I'm like going, all right, like stuff leapt out to me, and I just love doing that. So,
I mean, if we did give you a list of draw this, you wouldn't have done it anyway.
Oh,
you would have been like, I'm going to draw goofy dogs.
Yeah.
I think you did great, Mike.
I think you did great too. Just give me a hard time.
Definitely.
I don't know if this is like, I don't know if this is like accurate because it's certainly haven't seen all of your projects, but you did really good work on this project. So
thank you very much. You
did okay.
It's real up there. It's real up there.
Yeah.
And we were joking about like how long it took between you telling me and like when the job actually came. I was actually glad that the 40 years came between you telling me about the job and me actually drawing it, because like
That's right.
No.
It's like that story about Picasso, right? It's
you pushed the rock up the hill and then it fell down and then you had to push it up again, right?
that wasn't Picasso, but thanks for playing.
Picasso, the sculptor.
Yeah, no.
Picasso.
This is like a shocking insight, everybody, into Mike Muma's psyche somehow. This is like, he's like, hey, you know that guy Picasso? He's like, yeah, I know exactly about the like Greek demigod who was tortured in Hades by having to push a rock up a hill all the time. I totally know that guy.
Platypus, right?
You're getting closer. You're getting closer.
Sisyphus for anyone listening.
Oh man. So and so I think gosh, we've hit on a number of things. When we look at when we look at Heckin Good Doggos, like one of the things I personally really wanted to kind of bring home was the fact that Wedding Games does not have like a family game. We have games like Wild Skies is like anthropomorphic diesel punk. It's a probably one of our like mechanically heavier games or crunchier games.
Probably like
probably. I mean, it is.
It is. Just you can say it is.
And then we have Never Going Home and Tenebria, which use the +1 system, but being able to run games with our kids and recently has really kind of I really wanted to have that opportunity to be able to take one of our games and be able to play that with our kids. And so Heckin Go Doggos, using the +1 system in a kind of streamlined manner, has allowed us to kind of do that. I really just enjoy kind of the end result that we've kind of come up with. Because you go up to kids and say, hey, what kind of dog do you want to be? It's like, I want to be my dog. It's like, okay, fine, we can make your dog. Or do you have a big dog? Do you have just a silly dog? What kind of dog do you have? They get to kind of describe that. They get to describe the person that they get to be with. They get to describe their neighborhood, and that all gives some of that that investment into the game for the kids. I know I've mentioned it on a couple of other things that we've done, but The Excellence is a game by Ninth Level that we've played recently with our kids, and Sarah played it's all about playing like a princess, like She-Ra, Princess of Power or something like that. You're playing some magical princess, prince or princess in the setting. And so Sarah actually played a princess, and she was the princess of puppies. And I was like, in the game, you actually have to narrate like how you came to this world, and what were you in the other world, to again get some of that investment in the game. And she was like, well, Sarah, I'll let you, you're on the call. Like, I would like, how did you kind of narrate like what you were in the other world?
Yeah. So in the human world, the real world where we all came from, I said, well, I was a dog in the world. And so then I appear as the princess of puppies in this like princess world. So that was kind of fun because then I got to play like a weird puppy princess who acts like a dog, but she's been transformed into like a human princess in this weird magical land. Yeah, so like the kids really enjoyed that, where something happens and my immediate reaction is to just bark at like an enemy instead of use my weapon against them because I'm a dog, not a person.
See, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I absolutely agree. Like that was like, again, going back to my reaction to the art, like we had the one for the combat system and it's just a dog barking at a mailbox.
Oh yeah. It's so good. And like you have like all of the color, like the dark ominous color, and like the grass around the mailbox looks like tendrils, and like this little Westie's just going at it, like giving him the business. I love it.
I was cracking up the entire time drawing it because I'm like picturing this in real life. You're like picturing somebody looking out the window like, that stupid dog.
And that dog's like, hey, you're lucky I protected you from that mailbox over there.
But that's one of the villains in the game, where there sometimes villains will pop up, like even in like the main version of the game or in the supernatural one or the other ones, where it's like, oh, that dog, he's barking at the mailbox. The dog's like, they're demonic evil from the primordial era living in that mailbox. You are all going to die. It's like, sure we are, little.
Sure we are. Right. So we did actually have a lot of that feel too, of like, how do you make a game about dogs just doing silly things, just everyday things? How do you make that like engaging? And one of the things that I when talking to some of our other what we call fetch goal writers, which I mean, that was staring us right in the face. And it wasn't until like we launched the campaign, we were like, wait a second, why are we calling these stretch goals? But the fetch goal writers are, just come up with some amazing just ideas of just like mundane things which could be larger than life to your dogs. And our very first one, Corey Capps, he was talking about like the mystery of the knocked over trash cans. And it's like, the dogs get blamed for the trash can getting knocked over, and like the best friend is upset. And so you all as a pack have to find out who knocked over the trash cans and why. And so I thought that was really interesting. One of the things that like it's an ongoing joke in my household. We have little chihuahuas. This is Daisy. Woo. Yeah, this is Daisy. She always sits down here when I'm at the computer. She sits at this little dog bed Sarah made. And Huey almost always is sitting near Sarah. But
yeah, Huey's actually at my feet right now, curled up on the blanket that I've been crocheting.
One of the things that we the jokes in our household is like we have a list of things that are for killing puppies, because our dogs will just be terrified and run away of random stuff. And so like our ongoing joke is like, oh, did you know that using a fork to poke holes in the top of a TV dinner is for killing puppies? Because apparently the dogs think it's for killing puppies. And so like we just have this ridiculous list of these things, which I think kind of translates to the game. It's that larger than life thing, because for us it's nothing, but for the dogs it's like, oh no. Anyway.
My favorite is, did you know that the remote sliding off the back of the couch very slowly is for killing puppies?
Yeah.
See,
that's what they think.
With my partner, she has 2 dogs, and we joke about sudden exploding trash can syndrome, where suddenly the trash can explodes. Like we'll leave the room and we'll come back and the trash can's just exploded. And if it wasn't for the efforts of Rocket and Stretch, we'd all be dead, because they minimized the explosion and they made sure that there was no volatile chemicals. And really, they're heroes.
I could see that.
Huey is relatively quiet most of the day, except from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. That is apparently when all of the danger occurs, because that is when he does 95% of his barking.
Oh.
And I think it's probably related to the increase in traffic that goes by our house at that time of day, but it's almost comical. I'm just like, why is he barking so much? Oh, it's 5 o'clock now.
It's 5 o'clock.
Barking time. Mm-hmm.
He has to bark.
I have an update from our campaign.
Yeah.
With 36 minutes to go, we have passed $24,000. So Michelle Lee is unlocked.
Yeah, Michelle Lee.
Nice.
So Michelle is one of our writers who has not only written for us, and we've known her for years, but she also works in a veterinarian's office as a veterinarian's assistant. So, she works with dogs every single day. And when
she
we
has
told
like
her,
17 dogs or something, like
every day.
A lot of dogs. I don't know how many. It's more than one.
We asked, or when she found out that we were doing this campaign, she was like, I need to be involved. Like, I don't care how I can be involved, but I need to. And
hey, the
sure.
fans made it happen.
So Michelle actually has written something. She's written stuff for us, like I said, stuff for us before, but our fans and supporters on this project also made some really excellent suggestions. Over the course of the campaign about service animals and how service animals fit into a world where leaving their best friend to go join another pack during the day isn't necessarily something they would actively do or readily do, or maybe they have a different way of doing it. And it was just, we're like, yeah, this is all great stuff. And I know I was talking to Michelle about those comments, and she was like, I would love to do that. So we made it happen, apparently. That's awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Is it weird? My OCD is kind of looking at our total, and it's like we're $24,001.
$1. $1 over is over.
How do we get $1?
We have a number of $1 backers.
Oh,
People who have backed for $1 to get access to our backer kit after it happens.
Gotta love those people.
That's
Hey,
the
you know,
pro
maybe-
strats.
Pro strats, that's right. All right. We also have some additional questions
Did you get
in our chat. We have a number of people who are here with us. One, and I'm gonna let Matt kind of field this while I'm gonna send out a quick update about our 24,000. Hey man, my group of players have been loving Never Going Home. We love Never Going Home too. It's great. It's a lot of fun. It's the first RPG I've run since 2018. We were wondering if there are any more supplements y'all are throwing around. Also, bark. Thanks, Jack.
Also bark.
Yeah.
Well said.
So we have ideas. We have a I don't know if it's a master plan, but it is like we have the Never Going Home project has sort of an end point, and there's a couple more things that we can imagine doing between now and when we reach that like natural conclusion to the supplements that keep coming out. I think the next, do we want to just announce it, Brandon? Like, do we
Sure.
want to say it? Okay, so
Do it.
what we want to work on next, and like we're in the beginning, the very beginning of these things. This is slightly more than an idea. But what we want to do is we want to put together a tarot deck with Charlie's art, and it'll be a full, 78 or more deck of cards. And then that will be accompanied by a book which would give you some rules for playing different whisper paths, using the tarot cards, using the tarot cards like instead of the normal deck, and what that would do to gameplay. Like we want to really offer something unique as far as like how it could change up the game without going too much off base. It would still be the World War I setting, all that kind of stuff. But the thematic power of the tarot deck and the visual impact of all of that art by Charles Ferguson Avery would be a pretty great combination. So that is our next intended project, and for Never Going Home, and we would be looking to be working on it this year. I don't know if it would reach a funding stage this calendar year, but that is the next Never Going Home thing that we will be working on.
Right.
So
there have been
we have some other ideas. I don't think we need to say any more, Brandon, but we've got some other things.
I think the only hint that I would give would be you can look at our existing Never Going Home product line and look at World War I history, and you might be able to get a feel for where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, now I want to just ask questions. I mean,
well,
I'm curious.
we can talk about dogs.
The devil dogs, isn't it? You're going to talk about the devil dogs.
The devil dogs.
So here's the other thing. Like, I don't know if this is something that like I'm just saying this right now. Maybe I'll write it myself and just do it for fun. But like, what if we want to put like Heckin Good Doggos in World War I? Like,
yeah.
I mean, that would make it a very different game. But both sides could be very different. I don't know. They'll meet in the middle somewhere. We'll see. I don't know. No promises, but there's the potential.
I mean, we have a number of
we
have
have
books here in our house that have many pictures of World War I dogs with gas masks.
Right. Certainly, it's historically accurate. Sarah looks over to the shelf where they all are.
Right.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, they're right there.
Is it still one shelf, or is it expanded to multiple shelves?
It is now about a shelf and a third of my one bookshelf here. So
Awesome.
of
Yeah,
my 5
Pretty
shelf.
good.
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff over there. We also have oh man, we're getting more comments and questions. I'm a huge dog lover. I'm excited to try this game with my friends. Thanks for making it. Congratulations on raising 24K. That's from William Oswald. Thanks, William.
Thank you, William.
All right. Eric Bloat from Bloat Games. He's another one of our awesome friends and partners. He's a great dude. Check out Bloat Games and some of his products if you haven't already. But he says, awesomeness. I love Michelle Lee. She is the bomb.com.
Wouldn't it be bomb.org?
I mean, she might be bomb.org. I don't know. I haven't looked yet. But no, I do. I can't agree more. William Oswald again says, one question that came out of mind, out of all the adventures and scenarios that will be included with Heckin Good Doggos, which one is the best to get used to the Heckin Good Doggos system or RPG style?
Ooh,
So I'm gonna give a brief introduction here about how this is gonna kind of work out, and then I'll let other people also chime in. So the core book itself doesn't have adventures in it. All of the scenarios and everything that are as part of Heckin Good Doggos, all of these are going to be on DriveThruRPG. All of our backers are going to get emails with all of these, so you're not going to have to go and purchase them individually or anything like that. All of these are unlocked for all of our backers. That said, the system itself is pretty easy to use. I would say any of the Neighborhood Pals system ones or setting ones would be easier, solely because those only rely on the +1 system as described in Heckin Good Doggos. All of the other micro settings, from Hexing Good Doggos, Wrecking Good Doggos, Mecking Good Doggos, all of these things have additional rules, additional complexity, not anything over the top because it's still a family friendly game, but they add something to the game as it is. So any of the Neighborhood Pals scenarios, William, I think would be where you would want to start. Anyone else could also chime in and tell me to go pound sand, but that's my thought.
No, I mean, I think we can, I don't know. Those are, none of them are written yet, is basically another part of the complexity here. Like once the campaign is done, then we'll start getting those worked on. Because, you don't know how many you're going to have until the campaign is over. So no one started, no words are begun yet. So it would literally be impossible to answer which one is the easiest.
Well, yes, that is true.
So, but we'll know, and there'll probably be, there might be an order. Like maybe we'll need some advice in like a introduction or something like that.
Maybe a 1 to 5
first.
paw ranking system.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
I would also like to point out that because all of these adventures are all these scenarios are standalone, they'll all be on DriveThruRPG and sent out as they come out. None of these will delay the progress or release of the book itself, because the book content is not dependent on any of this stuff. This is really just, we're gonna button up the manuscript, put it through editing, and then send it to Matt Benici to do layout, and it's good to go.
And also, I think a lot of people don't understand what our process is for the adventures. I mean, after they write the adventures, we're going to have all the freelancers get into a massive fight with swords to see which one can prove that they are the greatest writer of all time. It's a very bloody process. You might want to thank these writers in advance. Not all of them are going to make it. But
it's swords now. I thought it was with rubber bands.
No, it's swords now. Yeah.
Okay.
Rubber bands was
too
slow.
slow.
COVID.
It'll be
distance.
over more quickly.
We'll make you and Matt fight with rubber bands. The writers have to fight with swords.
Yeah,
that's right.
If
that's the case too, my money's
commensurate
on
to your
Sarah.
experience levels.
and one-handedness.
I didn't want to say it, but I was thinking it.
Well, but actually, like, also just some of the talent that's coming into this, just all the adventures are going to be great. It's really hard to, just from all the ideas that we've heard. And a lot of people would just send us ideas that they had about just adventures that they thought would be really cool. And I think actually that's one of the greatest strengths of the setting. I mean, I know it's too simplistic for me to say, yeah, it's a dog RPG. If you could think of adventures for your dogs, you could think of an RPG adventure. But one of the nice things about this is dogs are something that most people encounter every day. I mean, or other pets. And a lot of people, they either grew up with dogs or they had friends with dogs. And who hasn't joked around with somebody about something silly that their dogs did? I mean, we talked about the Chihuahuas earlier and, like sudden exploding trash can syndrome and all the weird stuff you just say as a joke. But when you're sitting down with your friends, you could just literally be like, oh, no, like, this is what I want to do for my game. Maybe the trash cans keep getting knocked over. What is knocking over the trash cans? Or other ideas that we've had for like some of the settings where it could be, oh no, like the apocalypse has happened. You have to find food for your friends. That in itself is like a huge journey.
Yeah.
And so the game, like, I'm not saying it's too easy to come up with adventures. It's just really is one of those things where even for the most, if you've never run a game before, if you've never run any kind of RPG, but you really want to, this is a really forgiving engine and a really forgiving setting for you to sit down with your friends, just, like order pizza, stay in or get on Zoom, and boom, you can have a game going in no time.
I actually had a friend who from graduate school who now lives on a secluded island in Maine. And she's like, I backed your project because this is an RPG I could actually run. She's like, I'm always intimidated to run any RPGs, but she's like, I'm so excited to run this with my my husband and son and other people on the island. And she's like, I'm stoked about it, which is great. Skinny Wombat in the chat says, I bought the book on a whim after a friend sent this to our tabletop game group chat. I'm looking forward to playing. How does the game play with a larger group of, say, 6 to 8 players? So,
there's some.
That's a good question. So with larger game groups, I know from a Never Going Home perspective, which was our first game that used the +1 engine, it was recommended that if you played with more than 6 players, you used a second deck of cards, just for sheer volume of players and variety of cards and how cards are used in that game. I would probably make that recommendation as well. And because in this use of this implementation of the +1 system, you have cards more often, and cards are, you spend a card, you'll draw a card. You spend a card, you'll draw a card. So I think just making sure that those cards are on hand and constantly cycling, I think would be important. Matt, can you think of any other thing that might impact regarding over between 6 to 8 players?
I mean the +1 system in general doesn't really, other than having enough cards, like it's fine. I think it's much more dependent on your play group. What I'm thinking about is, like, I would not want to play this game with 8 third graders. I would,
as someone who deals with third graders
like,
and Cub Scouts all the time, I second that.
100% agree.
Yeah, like if you had like 7 of your good friends who were like in their somewhere over their 20s, but maybe not in their 60s yet, like most of the people on this call are, you could certainly play the game with that, and that's a sizable, you split the party, you're covering 2 angles, like, I mean, it's like any other game in that respect. But like with the family friendly nature of it, I don't know that playing it with that many younger players is a good idea. I mean, that's just general. I don't think there's nothing that comes to mind about like Heckin' Doggos itself breaking down at that level, but I don't know that I would play any game with 8 third graders,
Well,
like
they
that's
A while
certainly,
Justin has entered the room.
create a lot of chaos.
Hey.
Oh,
Yeah.
hi.
but if you could, I think mechanically it's fine. So
This, I would like to wait. I don't know where it is on the YouTube on the live stream, but hey, there's a Justin. That's Justin Geiza, who wrote what 2 pieces of fiction for Heckin' Good Doggos, which will be included in the book, as well as Wreckin' Good Doggos. No, Meckin' Good Doggos.
I got the mechs. Someone else got the Rex. I got the mechs.
Yeah, you got the mix, which it was a lot of fun being able to say, hey Justin, you want to step up and write a micro setting? And you were like, yes I do. Dogs and robots, that sounds great.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So hey, go on and introduce yourself, because I don't think a lot of people out there, some people who've come to some of our other events and stuff may know us, but yeah, introduce yourself and kind of how you feel about this Heckin' Good Doggo, this Heckin' Good project.
Sure. I'll try to sound interesting. So I'm a first-time writer with Wet Ink Games. This was a really lovely process, and I could not have asked for a better game to start working on. I mean, who doesn't love just some good dogs? Just hanging out, being pals. So I wrote, as Brandon mentioned, I wrote 2 pieces of fiction for this. So there's an intro for the book, and then there's a story toward the middle. And I just tried to focus on friendship. I just tried to focus on, something that I think makes everyone a little happy. So both of the stories are just rooted in being good pals, and are kind of just a small taste of what you can do with the campaign, with any given campaign. So that was a lot of fun.
One thing I really appreciated about your the first fiction piece that you turned in, and people will get a glimpse of this with the book, is how you had dogs explaining to pups how the world works. And I was like, this is great, because you had pups asking questions, and then you had other dogs who've kind of been around the block, like explaining how the world works and how they understand it. And it's like also from the context of dogs. I was like, this is fun.
Yeah, so y'all will get to read it when you pick up a copy. But the first story is about the Festival of Friends. It's about why dogs and humans are best friends, even if they're not they're not the only kinds of friends, but they are best friends. And it's kind of dogs telling passing down their oral traditions of here's how we think this all works. And obviously they're dogs, so they have their own take on things, and not all of it's going to be correct.
Right.
Yeah. So that was like super fun. That was like the first thing that popped into my head. Was that piece. That was super exciting. And then of course there was the Meckin' Good Doggos, which obviously drew heavy inspiration from anime and the whole the whole kaiju culture. So it was that one was just a hoot, because I was kind of left to my own devices to just sort of however you want to tackle this. We just need dogs and robots. That's what's important. As long as there are
dogs and robots
fighting giant monsters, and we're good. So I took it and ran. I got to make some fun creatures, one of which is, I think it's the Octopus.
The Octopus, yeah.
Octopus, which Muma did like an awesome job with the artwork. I'm really excited.
Yeah, it was. I think for your introduction story, I think that was the first illustration I did for the thing that really set the tone for me.
It was.
I'm like going, all right, I can get behind this. I like this a lot. And then getting to the part where I said, yeah, this part kind of annoys me because it's not regular dogs doing regular dog stuff. Like before, like when I got to the Making Good Doggos, like I should say it was annoying at first, but then I had a lot of fun with it. Like especially with the giant Meg fighting the octopus.
One of the things I liked was that when we were dealing with some of our fetch goal writers, how I was like, hey, what do you want to write? What do you want to do? And Senfung Lim was like, I totally want to do something in the Meccan Good Doggo setting. And I was like, yeah, no one else no one else has like put a flag in that. So sure, have at it. And he was like, oh yeah, I want to take that. And like, I mean, I want to go down like that Power Rangers rabbit hole. Like that's the feel I want to go. And I was like, do it. So, like that groundwork is laid. It was like, Justin wrote that micro setting, and if Sen's going to do additional stuff for his adventure where, you spend like, you have to spend 5 minutes at your table, like going through like the combination animation. Like that's fine. I don't care.
What was
As little puppies.
What was really annoying about it for me was there was only one drawing of the Mac and Doggos. And I did get to do one more extra one, which is just for the chapter. Like, what were those for, Brandon?
Oh, the spot art?
Yeah, the spot art. So I got to draw, like, it'll be like a little tiny thing in the corner of the pages in the chapter. But like, there's still like a mech head with like 2 dogs inside.
Yeah. Little it's really good. It's like little pilot, like just.
And the other dog's got his head out the window.
So,
oh, you're on mute, Justin. Oh no, you're muted.
We got a couple unanswered questions here yet. I think this one is going to be mostly Brandon, but Mike might weigh in on this one too. We have somebody asking about like when exactly will they get to send Mike their dog pictures for incorporation in the dog deck?
So once we end the campaign, there will be an opportunity to, because we're going to be building this through BackerKit, collecting shipping and everything through BackerKit, but we will send a backer survey through Kickstarter, which will have your it'll say at that pledge level, everyone who has stayed and as the Kickstarter collection and everything has worked through all that, we'll be able to send a survey through Kickstarter with the detail about that, and you'll be able to fill that out, and you'll have that survey sent that way. And then BackerKit, you'll also have additional information there for like pledge collection and or shipping collection and stuff like that. But it will be probably about a week. I don't know. Usually Kickstarter takes between and John, you may know a little bit more about this. I think it's between 7 and 10 days. It's about 7 to 10 days because they need to make sure that like they go through the initial collection. If there's something with bank cards or something, they go through all that stuff. But then after that, they open up the backer surveys so we can kind of communicate and gather that information.
And if you're watching this, make sure your credit card information is up to date. Which I know it's happened to me where I'll switch cards, and then sometimes Kickstarter will default to an old card I've had. But about 7 to 10 days, business days, and also varies on holidays and stuff. But yeah, that's how long it takes.
But yeah, it'll be around that time. And we'll be able to collect either some detailed information and photo reference. The photo reference will have the where you send that photo reference. And
please make sure that there are the best photos of your dog as possible. I try to get as accurate as I can.
It's just gonna be a picture like that. I'm just gonna, and I'm like, I don't understand why it's not a full profile shot. How did you not know what my dog looked like?
Well, you just draw your nose.
Hey,
Mike's artwork's just all going to be for the noses of pets.
If you want to send a fisheye photo of your dog, Mike can handle it.
Who's that photographer artist? I love his work, but I can't do that. So
that was Stacy's question, and we also got less than 10 minutes left on this this action here. And another $1 backer has joined us, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So the I saw here is Optic Nerve wants to know about a leveling or class system. And Brandon, do you want to talk about classes of dogs such as they are in the game?
Yeah, and then I'll kind of pass that off. But like, so I remember when we originally had talked about this. Well, I'm gonna take half a step back. When we made Wild Skies, it's a big half step though. When we made Wild
this
Skies,
is more
one
than
of the
half
things
step,
we wanted
Brandon.
to do is we wanted to give players a lot of options. So in Wild Skies, they said, "Hey, I want to play an angry bighorn sheep like Muma did." You could do that. You could make an angry bighorn sheep. If you wanted to make a big warthog, you could. And all of these things had stat block and ways that you could actually make this.
There's
No,
the art director.
no, Pepe, you need to get out of here. This is a dog. We're
This is
talking
a
about
dog
dogs. Get out of
conversation.
here. Anyway, so you could do that. With this game, we wanted to kind of simplify that. Instead of saying like, I want to play a boxer, or I want to play a Great Dane, or I want to play a Chihuahua, whatever it is you wanted to play, and having a specific template for each one of those dogs. We wanted to give players the opportunity to say like, no, I want to play my dog, which might be a purebred dog, which might be a mutt, which might be a not conform to an AKC breed standard or something like that. Or maybe it's just, my dog is really fat. So you say, I want my dog, your character to be this. And then when you assign those points, you kind of dictate in the brawn, smarts, and guts of your dog. It dictates what that looks like. So we don't necessarily have a class of dog or a huge list of breeds. Like, what kind of dog do you want to play? You can play that dog. You just say, that's what I want my dog to look like. This is how I want my dog to be built. Great. So Matt, from a leveling standpoint, from how your dog grows and learns, did you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I think we have the same, if you know the Never Going Home, or the +1 system it's a series of dots that your capabilities will be increased over time. In Never Going Home, we had you collected a set of cards and you discard them to level up. And but the way that the cards work in this game, because we want to keep it a little simpler, work a bit differently as far as that goes. I'm feeling like chapter level up, basically. More so than a specific, your dog will grow when it's appropriate to the story for your dogs to get a little bit better. Mark some more of those skill points across the character sheet.
Yeah.
And get better at, because we haven't explained the whole +1 system here, but you have a dice pool, and your dice pool, the starting dice in your pool is what those check marks would represent in this case. So, and then you could get better attributes and better skills with the check marks. But yeah, I think to keep it simple, because we want this to be accessible, I think it's a chapter based leveling, and you get basically mark a box, complete an adventure, mark a box. You're going to get a little better over time.
I would like to point out that, I think I sent this at 2:00 in the morning last night or whatever. If you'd like to see a preview of the character sheet, it's on update 13, the 750 backer fetch goal unlocked and character sheet preview. That's the name of the update. So any of our backers can go out and find that. It's out there, and you can take a look, kind of see what that looks like.
Gotten some more backers. We're down to 4 minutes.
4 minutes. Oh man. I don't hear my kids fighting, so that either means that they're presently engrossed in a movie or they've fallen asleep. So hey,
Or
that's
one
good.
of them
That's a
won.
plus. Or what?
Or one of them won.
Or one of them won.
Yeah.
That's true. Gosh.
They woke me up at 5:45 because they were screaming at one another, and they were downstairs in our family room. And I went to the top of the stairs and I was like, what is going on down there? And they were just like down there watching TV, had been down there for a while watching television in the middle of the night.
Yeah, they apparently woke up because I was like, how many episodes of TV did you watch? They're like, I don't know, like 3. And I was like, oh, so you woke up at like 4:30 in the morning to watch TV. That's fine. It's Saturday, I guess.
I mean, yeah, no problems detected. Like,
Yeah.
No problems detected. Right?
Yeah, man, because it's at my house.
right. You didn't have to deal with any of it, right?
no, I just mean that like
No,
I'm
I got you.
hearing-
It's fine.
you can watch TV at 4:30 in the morning if you want to. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but usually
nothing
you're watching
inherently
it from
wrong
being
with
awake
this
to that,
situation.
you know.
Yeah, that's right. It's at the end of your day, right, Matt? Or
Yeah,
Mike?
they refuse to take naps though, so like that it's more of a problem than you think, because we got
Well,
to
they're not
about
my kids, so it's not a problem.
5:45 today, and I was just like, y'all need to go to bed like right now.
Seems like
You
this
get
is
up
when it's time
tomorrow
for
at 4:30 in the morning, so now
Oh.
we're running into an issue.
We have 2 minutes left. 2 minutes to
2
go.
minutes.
Woo!
Oh,
Can we make
man.
unreasonable demands now? Like if we get $1,000 in the next 2 minutes, we'll do something crazy. Like actually
What
bring
kind of
about the
crazy thing are you
apocalypse.
willing to do, John?
Oh, no, you actually bring about the apocalypse? No, we're not making that promise. I will say, if we get $1,000 in the next 2 minutes, I will get a tattoo of Mike's cat.
Wow.
Where?
Oh my God, you got a pledge. So, I mean, that's fine. I mean, where?
It
I don't
better be
know.
a tramp stamp.
I mean,
Well, you better got one of
I'll
those.
put it right here. I'll get Pepe tattooed right here. How about that?
Oh yeah.
I'll
Oh
do
yeah,
it.
right.
Over his
No,
heart.
right here on the neck.
No, not on the neck. Not on the neck. I got I'm keeping this. I mean, obviously I have other stuff, but whatever. Well, I mean, I don't know, Mike. You got like 93 seconds. I don't think I'm gonna get Pepe tattooed on me.
Somebody please bid $1,000.
In our chat, Becky Shun says, if I had 1K, I would do it. I mean, Becky, I'm not lying. If it happened, I would do it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
Somebody please do that.
Hoping
Just
right now
imagine,
people are
like-
like flying through the menu, like just really
I mean,
trying to
I
like
do it
rapid
now,
fire
but I'm an
get
artist.
It's
so
like,
I don't have
oh
to
no, I wasn't fast enough. I couldn't get there.
gonna
Here's the thing: we'll take $1,000 anyways. Just make the donation to Wedding Games. Send us your checks.
So all right.
contact
We're
us off
actually in
list for
red number countdown
Ooh,
on the page.
Oh man,
makes it serious.
It's like
I'm
What's
so
the-
excited.
the
30
Blues
seconds.
Brothers. Bum, 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 bum.
30 seconds.
Wait, is there a ball that comes down somewhere?
It should. Oh, William,
If you're
I
on
would
the-
do it, but I'm in
It'll
college.
We
got you, Will.
So
I mean,
everybody get ready for that.
I hear that. We've all been there. As a matter of fact, Justin's parents actually had to feed me when I was in college once because I was like,
We didn't have to feed you.
I
I
mean,
want that to be clear. We
they
let
they
you
did
live.
out of the goodness of their
Boom.
hearts.
Hey, we do it.
We did
Fireworks.
it.
Fireworks.
Just happened.
Oh, they're beautiful.
I've
Oh, we
never
got-
seen
we
that
got
before.
Fireworks.
Aw.
Oh my God.
That's why you
Mike,
do the countdown. That's why you do the countdown live stream, John, so you
Yeah.
can see it.
That's right. It actually, because of Muma's art, it actually looked
Or
like
was that
dogs
you,
were
Justin? It wasn't
exploding.
on that page.
My cat is glaring at me for some reason. I think it might be related, but you can't be sure.
Your cat knows. Your cat knows. It's
She
like, wait a
was
second.
really, really testy with me.
So
While I was doing the artwork.
Thank you, all of our backers.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Thank you for believing in our fun dog game.
Mhm.
Oh, Becky also said that I said her name right. So You know what?
Hey, you
I'll
can
take it.
read.
Say it again, Brandon.
Becky Schön. It's German. So there it is. I said it. I said it twice.
I've known Becky 20 plus years.
Oh, have you really?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. All the way back to LiveJournal
Ooh, live.
Wow.
That is
Whew.
back in the day.
in
Oh,
the before
man.
times in the long ago.
Yeah, before the now.
For all you youngins who are watching this right now, imagine Facebook, but we took longer to get to points, and we had whenever we wanted to show our emotions, we had cool like emoji avatars, which I kind of wish Facebook still had.
Hey, the
That's
metaverse is
basically-
bringing it back.
The metaverse is bringing back a 15-year-old version
Bring back avatars.
of what is it?
Yeah.
Second Life.
Oh yeah,
Gee.
wow.
Still going strong.
Yeah.
Uh, my live journal is probably still active somewhere, and I just want to point out that my last two posts, it was me rambling. Second to last one was me rambling and being like, I was in high school, it was about nothing. And then I was like, well, anyways, I should go to bed because I have the SATs tomorrow. And then 10 minutes after that, there's another post that says, screw the SATs, I have Popeye's chicken. So I then ate a bunch of chicken, and then I slept through the alarm and missed the SATs the next day.
Oh wow.
I wanna argue here that my mom was furious, but also she slept through the alarms too. So like I don't know here. Let's call it a 50.
So silly SAT story. I actually fell asleep during the math portion of the SAT and woke up, when the proctor was like, "Oh, you have to do this thing." And I was like, "Oh," and then I just filled in some bubbles and I scored higher on math and verbal. So I don't know what that says.
I
I got into
Got
college
it.
and I have a master's degree, so that counts for something, I guess.
You did some learning.
Counts for something.
I got the flu actually literally the day of the SATs, where I woke up feeling crummy and very quickly went downhill to the point that halfway during the SATs, I'd used up all of my restroom breaks. And they were like, no, if you leave one more time, you have to go. And so my stomach is literally turning on me and I'm sneezing. And I literally am like, you know what? I fail. I have to go. And I just stood up and leave. And the teacher goes, that's an example. If you leave right now, we enforce the rules. And then I think they heard me down the hall, because next thing I know, there was like a teacher's aide bringing me water going, "Are you okay, sweetie?" And I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go. And I did pretty well. I mean, I didn't do great because I skipped out most of the math portion, but I still reasonably well on the SAT. So if I only stuck around for an additional hour, I think I would have gotten a really good score.
So the moral of this story for all of these people who are watching or watching it later is fall asleep, eat Popeye's chicken, and get sick.
Yeah.
Or do
And
what I
then you'll
did.
be successful
Or
game
you
designers.
can be like me and not take the SAT at all and just take the ACT and still get
I
it
was the same way.
for free.
I was
Yeah.
the same way. And I actually took it while very hungover, very little sleep. And anyone that knows me knows that I can't really do math at all. Somehow scored above average on the math score. So I'm,
All right.
yeah, because it's multiple choice, kids.
Muma, is that why were you like, well, I can't do math, I'm gonna have to do art? Was that
That's
basically
why I
what you
went to
did?
school to be a writer.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Step one, learn to read.
Yeah, I never really figured that one out either.
So, I know Matt hit on this before our divergence onto the SAT highway. But yes, thank you so much to all of our backers.
Doing around
and
that
supporters.
roundabout and back on.
We ended
the
with
main road.
819 backers.
That's
And over
pretty good.
over $24,000, $24,072, which I believe makes this I think our fourth most successful project from Wedding Games, or our fourth most successful Kickstarter. And again, the successful project isn't always measured in a Kickstarter, but you know what we just look at it and say this gives us an opportunity to either reinvest or to make our projects better in the future, or etc. And so we appreciate all of the support. I'm going to give a brief summary of kind of what we can see on our dashboard. So we ended up with our most popular pledge level being the $20 doing me a heckin' game pledge, which is the book. Our second most, and we had 313 backers at that tier. Our second most was heck, which is the game and the deck of cards, the Doggo cards, and that has 253 backers. And then the PDF version of Who's a Good PDF, 157 backers on that. We had a few retail pledge levels that went. We had 7 retail supporters, which is great. We always love our retail supporters. And I know that Mike was extremely surprised by the fact that all 50 of the Your Doggo in the Doggo deck pledge levels went like hotcakes on day one, on the first day. We had one drop sometime in the middle of the campaign, and that was snatched up within like something like 30 seconds. So that gives us a little bit of insight to that.
People love their dogs.
And we had 34 people back at the $1 pledge level to kind of help us out.
My mom was one.
Yeah, which is great.
Thank you, John's mom.
Thanks, John's mom.
Hey, John, mom.
To kind of help us out, and they still get access to the backer kit and everything like that. One thing that I also always like to see this is just another little insight into the world of Kickstarter. When we promote a project early on, and we want to see kind of gauge interest, we get to see how many people follow our page, follow the project throughout. And then we get to see how many of those people who follow the page and follow it from the beginning to the end or whatever, actually convert and support the project. One of the things I found fascinating about some of our more recent projects is our relatively high conversion number. So the people who of the over 1,200 people who followed our page throughout the campaign, at some point from when they clicked follow, whether it was in our pre-launch window or even over the course of the campaign, they converted. And so we have over 25% of the people who followed the page converted, which that's a pretty good conversion rate. Usually we can sit there between 15 and 18 is pretty solid conversion rate. But 25 is pretty great. You guys are awesome. Thank you for believing in us.
Thank you again.
Yeah.
We can't say it enough times. We can say it. How many is it? 800? Over 800?
819. We can say it 819.
819 times. Thank you.
Oh, I thought we were going to say it 819 times. That's what I'm planning on doing.
You are.
Yeah, you are. Well, I mean, there's 6 of us.
Water.
We could each divide it up. And gosh, if only we would have studied for the math portion of the SAT.
We all
I'm
calculate.
an artist.
There's only
called
6 of
small
us, so
back
it'll
in
be more
comedy.
than 100. I can
Yes,
do
no.
that level of math right
Sure.
quick.
I can add to 5 at least.
137 people apiece.
I was gonna say it's about 130, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we can do this.
Yeah.
We won't, but we can. Well, we won't. All right, excellent. So I know that we said that we would be kind of available throughout the, up until about 10:30 or so. We just to kind of answer any additional questions if there's any that come in through the chat. We have, I think, 6 people watching it now. I think at our height we had 12 or 13 watching live with us. But if there's not any additional questions or anything that I don't necessarily feel a need to keep you all on here, but I guess we can stay for a couple more minutes. If there's something that comes into the chat, let's answer it. So
Yeah, I haven't seen any on Instagram or Discord. I've been checking throughout, so no questions have come in there. But
okay, excellent.
Brendan, you're still getting the tattoo of my cat though on your neck, right?
Oh, we just missed it. Just missed it. Just missed it.
That's for our second Kickstarter. Which
Oh yeah, I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
if we're gonna put this in retail, if this this does well, we decide, hey, you know what? There's got to be a cat version of this game, right? So
Brendan and I actually did talk about that. I'm like, I need to
I
do
think
that.
I've chatted with everyone on this video about potentially doing a cat version.
I mean, we've got cats, rabbits, dinosaurs.
dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs,
Oh.
heckin' good dinos, writes
Writes
itself.
like it, somebody today was asking for lizards.
Lizards and birds, right?
I forget where I saw
had
that.
to watch a cat watch a lizard a couple months ago when there was a one of my friends who Brandon also knows. They had a power outage. Well, it's winter here, and so we had to take care of our cat or lizard. Sorry, lizard, and
Cat, lizard.
So my cat or my kid. Sorry, mixing up all the animals. Everything that's smaller than me is a cat. But like my kid was watching the lizard, and he was like, "This is what I learned about the lizard. He's very fast, and he poops a lot."
He's very fast.
I
And
thought
he
it was
poops a
very
lot.
wise. He was wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John Fav.
He's also going to be a future artist, by the way.
Okay,
Dude,
I'm sorry. We have a.
I have
back-
to ask.
We have someone on the chat, John Favaro. When I saw it, I was like, "Is that John Favreau?" John Favaro says a cat one would be amazing, and we're
As far as
you have
I'm
cat
concerned,
people and
it
dog
is John
people.
Favreau.
It wouldn't be out of the question to have a cat version of this game, and who knows, maybe a stretch goal because cats stretch. For getting a tattoo of Pepe. I mean, it might show up. It might come back.
Swimming
know.
a swell fish. I like it.
So
Swimming
I want to go
swellfish.
back a step, Mike, and ask you,
Okay.
what do you call all animals that are bigger than you?
Oh yeah.
No.
No.
You call them no?
No.
No.
You're just like, nope.
Nah. Actually, what I call him is like, "Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?"
Becky says, otters. I love
Ooh,
otters.
otters. That is a good
Oh, that'd
one.
be fun.
I love otters. They are fantastic. Oh,
That'd
man.
actually be great.
We can.
Didn't I play an otter in like we were doing a Wild Skies thing? I was playing the otter, wasn't I?
We did because
Yeah.
we did an event. Didn't it was the
No, that was our
The
long-term campaign. Like,
Casablanca one.
yeah.
Yeah, we did a
Casablanca.
Casablanca thing.
You were playing Rick from Casablanca.
Yeah, I was basically playing
ferret
Rick
or
from
something.
Casablanca as a ferret.
Love it. I
No,
love
I'm
that
not-
movie. Love that concept. You were brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.
also
I think
Double
your
Mike
character's
Otter
name
from
was
an otter
Flim
perspective.
Flam Sam, I believe was the character's name.
Yeah, it was Sam. Like
It was
I
Sam.
actually designed everything about around Casablanca.
So Justin and I actually went to school with one of our other friends who used to work for the Nerdist, and she during that she was actually promoting some of the stuff that we were doing with Wild Skies, and as a thank you, Mike, you did a piece of art as of a character that we made for her. It was of her, like her as an otter,
Bumping good times.
and with as a like a 1930s reporter, and we had set that up, kind of framed that up, and sent that over to her. That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh
That was
man.
one of the things I
Here's-
liked about Wild Skies because it was set in the 1930s.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun, man. We should
So
return to that.
Yes, we should. I keep telling you we should.
I
just
want
wanted
to.
do the
Optic
already.
Nerve shares
Do
that
it.
there's a Twitch channel for an otter rescue where you could just watch otters 24/7.
Nice.
And everyone leave this channel. Go watch that.
We're gonna go watch.
Yeah.
Probably
yeah,
way
the otter
better
rescue. It's like,
content, honestly.
Well, I'm
Much
gonna
better
do.
content than here.
and we would not blame you one bit.
I was
Not
like, we
at
need to
all.
jump this stream into theirs, but we're not on Twitch. We're on the
There's,
YouTube.
I will say, Sarah and I went to the Knoxville Zoo a few years ago, and they have a river otter exhibit that I was not expecting. Like, we were walking around, and there's like one of these little paths just ends at a river otter exhibit, and like it was my best day. I was just like, like it was great.
And then you forgot the kids, and you had to go
Yeah,
back.
I mean, why?
He didn't forget the
I was
kids.
like, get in there, have
He
fun.
came home with 3 otters. That's what
I came
happened.
home with 3 otters. I just dressed them in little outfits.
The numbers are the same. That's good.
Oh man,
Do a head count. It comes out right.
that's right. Like one of my kids is just 3 otters in a trench coat. Out of all of my kids, if one of them was 3 otters in a trench coat, that child is not in my house tonight. So I'm okay with that.
You're not
Yeah,
the
I was
will.
thinking the little one is probably 3 otters in a trench coat.
By the way,
No, my ear.
Yeah.
I think it just it's a cool name. Not that we're going to do it. Not we're committing to do it. But if we did dinosaurs, I like the idea of stomping good dinos.
Yeah.
Stop.
I'm drawing
wrote
that right now.
down here, John.
I'm
That's a
gonna-
good one.
I'm going to throw this out there because I know Sarah had never heard of this in her entire life. And which, if I may ever make like a media reference from my childhood, Sarah's like, I don't know what that is. Mostly because, hey, you know, you're younger than me, and you know how to read, and I just watch TV. But does anyone else on here remember Denver the Last Dinosaur?
Absolutely, and the theme song.
Yeah, and the
My
theme
friend.
song.
And a whole
Okay,
lot more.
thank you.
I've never heard of it.
Oh, well, he's my friend and a whole lot more, Muma.
Denver was a dinosaur, but he wasn't like other dinosaurs. He was a cool dinosaur.
He had sunglasses and rode a skateboard
Yeah.
in the actually, it would have been like the late 80s.
And he
I think
played
it was like
guitar.
89. And what?
Played
Well,
guitar.
there were toys too. It was in
Oh yeah,
that
he
era
did
of
play
like,
guitar.
yes, it was that era of like we need to sell toys. How do we sell toys? I know. Let's make a cartoon.
Yeah, and Denver the Last Dinosaur was like, okay, we're gonna take every terrible idea from a Trapper Keeper and make it a show.
There were no terrible ideas on Trapper Keepers, Brandon.
I mean, maybe it was just the implementation. Maybe it was just the medium. Like on a Trapper Keeper, fantastic.
Can we do dino saucers?
Oh,
Weirdly catchy
Dinosaurs?
theme. Dino saucers.
I want to do all this art. Let's do it now.
Is this Dino Riders? Has that been done as an RPG? Can we do Dino Riders?
Oh
No, but-
man, I love Dino.
I know that there were a couple game designers that were not doing it as a like, hey, we're going to make this RPG and try to publish it, but it was like, hey, I'm going to make this because I remember this as a kid and I just want to like have a fun campaign. And yeah, there are Dino Riders. I would publish the crap out of that.
They just
I
remember
remember-
voice.
So October is a big month for artists, like, well, you know, with Inktober and stuff like that. So a few years ago, another artist buddy of mine, he drew a picture of a bear riding on back of a Tyrannosaurus Rex, which I thought was hilarious. So I responded by drawing a bear with a Stegosaurus, which is much larger than it was, riding on its back. And it's actually my favorite drawing that I've ever done. I usually don't like any of my drawings that I ever do. And it's hanging on the door, like in front of my kids' stuff. I totally lost track of what I was trying to say. So yeah, that there's that.
Dino
thing going
Riders.
on. Dino Riders.
Oh yeah, but that
so,
Stegosaurus
yeah.
movie, that one was great.
Yeah, so
Haven't seen
I
that.
I'm going to draw those. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I love
Uh,
dinos.
all this
I-
reminded me of Battle Beasts. Does anyone remember this?
Ooh,
Yeah.
I do.
Or Battle
They
Beast, the
had-
one that was
have-
like
I had a
water
bunch
and
of those
fire
action
and-
figures.
Yeah, we only had a handful of them because I feel like it was one of those things like we probably, my brother and I were pretty little at the times, and we were just like, we probably saw a pack. We were like, we need the battle beast. And our parents bought us like a 3-pack or however they sold them. They had little there were different animals. There were little anthropomorphic animals. Each one had a weapon, and each one had a little heat sensitive tile
you put your
in the
thumb
front,
on it.
and you put your thumb on it, and it would show fire, wood, or water, so you could play rock, paper, scissors with your friends and your battle beasts.
Nice.
I loved those, even
Yeah,
if I only
they
got
were
a couple of them.
I had a bunch of those.
I probably still have about 6 of them, but I used to have more. And I know that the reason I have less than I used to is because I played with them outside and like,
Oh man.
because they were battling over the earth or whatever. And I definitely buried one of them.
They fought to the death.
ground and never dug it up, I guess. I don't know. And
It didn't grow. It didn't grow a battle beast tree.
Someone's gonna dig that up.
grow into a battle beast tree, surprisingly.
Oh man.
You should go get it. Go back to that house and go to that yard. Just start digging at random places.
I think it was at my school. So like, it's a long time ago. Oh, look
at
Steven has joined the
this
call.
guy.
Hey,
Hello,
Steven.
friends.
Look who decides to show up.
Better late than never, right?
He waited for the money to clear. That's what he was waiting for.
He waited for the money to clear.
Yes. This is my
Oh,
Swiss
secret
bank
unlock.
card.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah. So this is Stephen Wu, another one of our fetch goal writers, and actually scenario writers too. Not just fetch goal
No,
writers.
he wrote the
actually
micro
Or
setting.
just a scenario writer or micro setting writer in this one. And Stephen, I'd like to just give you an opportunity to introduce yourself, but high level, awesome artist, awesome writer, all around great dude, Stephen Wu.
Thank you. Yeah, I like making nerdy stuff, and I like when people consume the stuff that I make. So that's it.
Yeah. Well, I regularly will use you kind of as an example because I know Muma talks about like always doing his warm-ups, and when doing his art, people talk about like, oh, I'm going to write a little bit every day from a creative standpoint, and I always talk about how you do your new piece of art every day, and I have the pair of shoes that you made me when you were working on Tenebria, and I keep it above my desk, this pair of shoes, because I'm like, if Steven can just sit there and be like, I'm going to make a new piece of art every day, like it inspires me a little bit. So yeah, it was cool.
No, I'm glad you like them. It's a fun little habit to be in. Although I will say sometimes, because I go into coffee shops to work, that coffee adds up.
Yeah.
No joke. But yeah, no, I like improving. I've been working on a couple
working
of things.
bars more.
You're
working bars more.
Yeah.
Different experience.
I think it's really cool speaking with a lot of other creatives. It's really hard staring at that blank page or that blank word processor or whatever we're doing. I like being in the habit of just being anal enough to start putting something on there to get over that initial fear of creating crap.
Yeah.
I hate starting projects. I hate it. It's the worst thing I hate. Once you get going, then you're fine. But it's just like whenever you're starting a new piece, just the worst time. I hate this.
I don't know. I love the blank page because you can't mess it up. There's nothing there. Like you just get started and like it may not be good, but like you didn't mess anything up because you just started,
Yeah.
Like
I like that. I like that attitude.
Yeah,
I
I like that too.
Just start with one line. Like you can't mess it up because you haven't done anything yet. Just draw one line and then
Just see what
go
comes
from
out.
there.
Yep.
Well,
The harder part is tying all the pieces together, like you put
that's the part I hate. Like when I get 90% done with the project, then I'm so over it because I'm like, oh, I know it's going to take me like as long to finish the last 10% as it's taking me to get to this point. I hate that stage.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like I get that with writing. I have the same thing, but it's strange when you're doing a drawing. Like, well, I can do this and this and this. You got like you're like, oh, I gotta get going. I gotta get going, and then you just working, and then all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, I have nothing to do. What? And then you're
Yeah.
done. It's like all of a sudden it just ends.
So Stephen, what have you been working on recently? I know you're doing all kinds of stuff. So like what have you been working on recently?
Couple things. So I have a novel that we are currently in the submission process for.
All right.
Nice.
So we're gonna see how that goes. Hopefully it works out. And then my agent told me while this submission process is going on, you just need to be working on something else. So I've been working on this like so like isekai, which is taken over anime now. It's a kind of isekai story of a guy who plays like Souls-like games, who kind of like poo-poos luck in general. He thinks everything is skill. And he gets in a car accident and he gets transported into his isekai world of like a Souls-like game. And he has crap for stats except for luck. Luck is his only stat. So
nice.
This is it's a
I
good
like
setup.
Excellent.
It's a good setup,
It's a
Steve.
fun setup. So it's about him like coming to terms with the fact that there's a lot of stuff in life that you can't control.
Yeah.
And it's not
is
all
this
skill.
is this another? I'm sorry. Is this another novel or is this like?
It's a novel. So working on that, halfway through that, and then in terms of art, I've been making assets for a say podcast / visual novel about some pirates.
I've been following those. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it's called Storm Chasers. We're looking to launch around May 1st. We have a couple of episodes already. It's pretty awesome. We got a cool cast. One of our cast members is the woman who does a lot of the Xbox trailers. So if you hear all of a sudden like this is the really stern, like powerful female voice, that's one of our voice actors. So she's great. So yeah, it's about pirates. It's based on a D&D campaign. So it's pretty awesome. I like making nerdy stuff. So
I like it. I like it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been following the bits of pirate art that you've been putting out there. I didn't realize that's what it was for. But no, that's fantastic. And I know that let's see, Justin, you are you're under Zilla Persona for like nerdcore rap and other stuff. What else are you working on?
Yeah, kind of. I kind of didn't mention that. My stage name is Zilla Persona. I do electronic music. I'm a vocalist and rapper, based out of New York and New Jersey. That's kind of like
that's actually where Steven is.
Oh, cool. So that's actually a lot of the focus for like my side project stuff. I do have a card game I'm working on. Like the rules are done, and now I just have to I just got to do it. It's that thing where like
only you knew writers and artists and publishers. Jeez.
Yeah.
Why? I mean,
come back.
Brandon knows I was like needling him. Like I need people to play test. Hello, sir. So once I actually sit down and actually make the deck of cards, and so we could play it, and I can start making it real. And and I'm actually kind of noodling around with, I don't know if anyone's heard of Playdate, but it is this adorable handheld being made by the same team that did Untitled Goose Game. It was really big a couple years ago.
My kid loves that
love
game.
it.
It's great.
Yeah, so they're making they made a handheld. It's this adorable, it's a little cube. It is just black and white like a Game Boy, but they managed to get some really big some big names in there, like the creator of Katamari Damacy, like the rolling up the ball into bigger garbage. Yeah. So they got the creator for that. They got the creator for Kingdom of Loathing.
Kingdom of Loathing.
Yeah, and like a few others, but it's just like awesome. A weird, goofy system that you buy it. They're planning on giving everyone 2 games a week, and so 2 will download like every Monday or something. And I just think that's a cool way to do it. But the thing that's really interesting me is they release their SDK for free. So it's called Pulp, and it's a browser-based game designer. And I'm kind of like, I'm kind of just noodling around with it and just seeing if I might be able to, take some of like the game ideas I have and maybe like do like some small project or like a story or something like that, because it's really simple. So much so that like a lot of times if you want to do something, you got to kind of like brute force it or do a weird thing in the code. But I animated a baguette the other day, and you know what?
It looked
that's more
delicious.
baguettes and it's more like baguettes than I've ever animated in my life. So I feel accomplished. I feel like I did a great job.
I love it.
Patting myself on the back for that one.
Yeah, pat yourself on the back for that. That's amazing.
I'm just gonna keep going around the
keep
this
going.
thing. So Sarah, you just launched. I mean, you're a writer. You've done stuff for all of our projects and stuff. You have novels yourself, and you just launched your own. I mean, you had a site, but a blog where you're doing bits of short fiction and getting some of your other ideas out there. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I had this idea that I would just do a blog for short stories and maybe poems and just other little creative snippets that I write. But what I really wanted to start with to kind of kick off readers and to just draw people in was a multi-chapter story that's like a modern retelling of the Scarlet Letter. So I just have always been really fascinated with just the way that Hester in that story responds to her situation, and then really keeps silent about a lot of stuff in order to protect like the men that are around her, which I just think is a really interesting dynamic. And she just deals with like all of the blame that's put on her by just not talking about it, just like refusing to tell people about her business. So anyway, so I was like, okay, what would this look like in like a modern context? And so I've got 4 chapters up on the blog now. I've got 8 others that are written out. The story's still not wrapped up quite. I think I got a couple more chapters and probably an epilogue before it sort of lands at a good place. But then after that, all of the short fiction that I've written for Wet Ink, so all these like short horror stories that I've written are going to go up on the blog too, so people can go out and read those. And then of course we'll direct any of those readers through those posts to like go purchase products if they're interested in the games and stuff like that. So that's kind of what I'm working on now, and then we'll just kind of see how it evolves.
Excellent. And again, any of the people that we're talking with, Stephen and Justin and Sarah and everyone, if you have any links or anything, you feel free to drop them in the YouTube channel chat or send them to me or whatever, and we can make sure that they're there so other people can see them. I'm going to go on to John Kennedy. You've been, I don't know, one of the more busier people in the RPG space. Like every single time I look around on Facebook or something, you're working on a new project and making me jealous. What are you working on now that Doggos is getting to a place where it can, go out into the world?
Been working on some, like, I got, a lot of like things cooking. COVID set me back a little bit, but still working on Star Trek Adventures. We've got some cool stuff that'll be coming out soon.
Which, by the way, is an excellent engine. It works. Well, it's the Modiphius 2D20, right? So
it's weird. We have to
system.
say it's a Modiphius 2D20 Star Trek version because all their engines are different.
Yeah.
And then we launched Stargate last year.
Yep.
Which was really cool to work on. And then I've got a cool project coming out, and we would announce it next month. I've been working on it with Mike Myler, and he is a blast to work with. Just his mind wraps around mechanics and everything so quickly. Like, I'm good at world building, and I'm good at coming up with like the basics of an engine, and he can just troubleshoot it in like that. He is so good at it. And then of course Heckin Good Doggos, which so glad that this is getting out into the world, and all the settings are amazing. All the writers did such a great job. I know that everybody says, "Oh yeah, of course the writers did a great job," but like reading through the drafts and seeing what everyone came up with, it's just amazing because they took all those little ideas and then they just not only made it their own, but made them into like these just wonderful things where if I had to sit down with a group of friends to play the game, I don't know which setting I'd want to play in. I mean, I wrote Heckin Good Doggos, so I'm partial to that one, but all of them were really, really good. And so I'm just, like I said, super excited that this is like that it funded and it did so well. And now I think my phone's going to wonder why I'm not checking Kickstarter 9 times a day.
Right. So just to throw that out there to your point, John, from a writing perspective and creative perspective, we have, we have you, Michelle Lee, Allison Sybee, Stephen Wu, who's here. From our fetch goal perspective, we have Corey Capps, who's written for us, Bridget Jeffries, who has written for Chaosium and a number of like horror settings. And I've been wanting to work with Bridget for years, since I met her, I think back in 2018, and it never lined up. And she was one that I really wanted to get involved early on. Crystal Mazur, who has worked with us and worked for a number of different companies, Third Eye Games, Onyx Path, etc. Doug Lewandowski, who is one of the creators for Kids on Bikes, which is published by Renegade Games. Tyler Omachinsky, who is one of our longtime friends and great writer who's done stuff for Never Going Home. And we have an upcoming project for Doug Lewandowski. It's called Frost. We'll throw that more information about that later. Senfung Lim, who is a fantastic game designer for board games, card games. He was one of the designers for another project we worked on, Zhongsho Blood in the Banquet Hall. And Eric Bloat, who was in our chat earlier. He may still be lingering in there. Eric, like I said, of Bloat Games. He's been an absolute prolific game publisher and will be doing some really cool fun stuff with us. Broja Lee is a relatively new comer to the industry. She's been doing a few things for, what was that, Matt?
William's signing off, so just saying he's going to go study, still in college.
He's going to go study. You know what? Do it.
Learn stuff.
And I think that's it. Michelle Lee, like I said, was part of the core, but also was working on some of the fetch goals. So all in all, we have an absolute embarrassment of talent on this project, which is great. The one thing I really was hoping we would get to, Renee Ritchie, is someone who we've not worked with before, but we were excited to. Renee actually pitched pitched something to us, which was like, this sounds great. If anyone remembers the old Muppet Show with pigs in space,
The best segment.
Yeah, it was pitched to in the pitch. It starts off as pugs in space. I'm like, I'm already on board with that. So, but anyway, we did not make it. That still does not mean that it will not see the light of day. We'll it's great having a game that we can continue to support with content. So we'll be continuing discussions with Renee, trying to see where that goes from here. So I'm going to go to Mike now, because Mike, again, as one of, someone who does art all over the industry, I wanted to also, I know you've been working on a couple of personal projects, one of which I see art for almost every day. So go on and tell us what you're doing, man.
Well, I've been trying for the past, a couple of years, actually, trying to get a graphic novel off the floor. And unfortunately, I'm doing all the, I wrote it and then I got to draw it. And then, I got to color it and letter and all that stuff. And it's great. It's fun. It's fantastic. It's about an elf that causes all of his own problems. Like I look at him as the antagonist to the entire story, but the entire thing begins at pretty much in the middle of the story where he's looking up at a giant dragon. He's surrounded by a bunch of smoldering boots, and he's just standing there in a dragon's cave. And he's like, there's one thing I learned in the past week. It's dragons don't respond well to sarcasm. And that's basically how the entire story goes. And I've been having a lot of fun. I basically only show Brandon the artwork. I show a couple other people, but he kind of gets it. And I got 4 out of 6 issues drawn and 8. Yeah. And there's 2 more. But like currently, I'm working on a fun project where I'm drawing a comic book, a 12-page comic book, and about
in Silver Age style.
In Silver Age style, like 60s and 70s style, like complete with the faded newsprint and all that stuff, about how this guy met his future wife, and they're going to give it away at the wedding. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
I'd like to point out that in your graphic novel, my favorite character is his angry ex-girlfriend, who just also happens to be an extremely powerful sorceress. Yeah.
And in the next issue, which I have not drawn yet, you find out exactly why she's so mad, and everything that she's done so far, she's totally deserved it.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So it's called Silverdale, and it should come out in the next 20 years. Like
All right.
Yeah.
And I know that we've chatted a little bit about some of the stuff that's coming from Wet Ink Games, but also I do want to give Matthew an opportunity here, because Matt, you're also our convention coordinator for the Indie Game Developers Network. So I know that not only is Wet Ink going to be having some convention presence at Origins and Gen Con and PAX Unplugged and maybe a few others this year, but are there any specific like cool indie highlights that you want to give a shout out to while we're here?
Ooh, indie highlights.
I mean, I have my Shanty Hunters right there. And
I mean, Shanty Hunters comes to mind because I received it this week. Molten Sulfur Press did a Gumshoe-based RPG of the investigation mechanics of Gumshoe is used to, you have to memorize the shanty and sort of like best the shanty at its own game in order to capture it, because if you don't, then the shanty will come true, which might mean your death or the ship sinking or it running into rocks, or like the murder that the shanty is about will occur. There's a lot of like badness that might occur unless you can sort of anticipate the shanty and spend your investigation points based on the Gumshoe system to kind of stay one step ahead of the lyrics. So it's that just came out. I mean, I just received my copy this week, and it looks great. It looks great. So all props to Tristan Zimmerman, who wrote it and put it all together, of Molten Sulfur Press. That will be at conventions this year, I'm sure. Yeah. What are the other big things? I don't know. I mean, that's the newest thing that like just arrived. I will give a shout out to Craig Campbell of Nerdburger Games. His game, Secrets of the Vibrant Isle. It came out last digitally like in October or maybe November, even December last year. I'm not sure when it came out, but like it'll be physically at conventions this year. So that's another one that it's a solo game where you are playing, you're on an island, trapped on an island, or you find yourself on an island and you will be like magically like forced to leave the island unless you can kind of like befriend the island and become part of the island. So it's about you exploring the island enough to kind of learn enough of the secrets that you kind of become part of the community. You have to meet the islanders and befriend them, and you've got resource allocation and collection.
He's doing some
lots of
really good stuff recently out of Nerdburger Games. He's actually at Chattacon this weekend too,
oh yeah,
down in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So hey, if anyone's down there,
he's doing a con this weekend. Yeah. So those are two that's coming. I know a bit more about forthcoming stuff. There's a company called Nerdy City, and they've been working on a game called Command Droids
Oh yeah.
for a couple of years now, but it's finally gonna be, they've got it ready. It's gonna be at Origins, Command Droids from Nerdy City. It is all the 80s robots you can handle, looking like things that aren't robots, if you catch my drift. They may or may not be disguised, is what I'm saying.
Do they look like GoBots?
Love GoBots.
Better.
There's some percentage of the DNA is GoBots, I'm sure. But you play a teen and you're a robot, and you have like, it's got a lot of aspects of that, because it's kind of like Mask too, but it's also sort of like
I love the
kid
Mask.
robot and pilots the robot, so it's kind of like Power Rangers. It's mostly robots, but yeah.
I can still picture in my mind some of the Mask toys. Like those vehicles were awesome.
Yo, dude, the Mask toys, like if you could
The
get
guys,
past like the
Rhino and
terrible
Viper,
writing
those
of
were
that
awesome.
show.
Yeah.
the leader, the
the
guy
toys
who
were
had the
great.
flying like sports car, his name was
Yeah.
Matt, so of course I had that.
Yeah, he was Matt Tracker.
Matt
His name was
Tracker.
Matt Tracker.
What's that?
Like,
I know.
Yeah.
Because he had a
And-
flying sports car.
He had a
I
flying
had that
Camaro,
car,
which
but I
was
never knew
dope.
his name.
Anyway, the Mask toys
yeah,
were fantastic. That's what we
Also forthcoming, Wannabe Games is doing The Means of Magic.
they just did Moonpunk last year, right?
Yeah, they Moonpunk a couple years ago, but like
Couple years.
Means of Magic is forthcoming. So
There's a
look
lot.
for it, in conventions, the Indie Game Developer Network, and our booth with all the stuff will be in Nashville in April at the Middle Tennessee Anime Convention. We'll be in Columbus with Origins in June. We will be at Gen Con, of course, in Columbus, or in Indianapolis in August. We're going to Gamehole Con in Madison, Wisconsin in October. And then I missed the New Hampshire Comic Con, which is in
Granite State. It's
Manchester?
Granite State Comic Con.
Granite State Comic Con.
Granite State Comic Con in September.
That's in September, and then PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia in December. So 6 conventions. IGDN, the Indie Game Developer Network will be at there. Lots of stuff. So April is the first of the year, or the first con for us this year. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. We've definitely gone around this round table. You guys have been great. I know that people will be watching this after the fact. We did have some excellent participation, some good questions. And thank you, everyone here, for participating in that. I really appreciate you and your time and your input into Heckin Good Doggos. I think we can kind of put
There's
a bow
no
on
G
this
in
for
the
now.
word, by the way. Heckin,
I mean,
Heckin Good Doggos.
Heckin Good Doggos. It's fine, I guess.
There's no G in Michigan.
So I think thank you all, and I think now we just need to crank it out and make sure it gets in the hands of all these backers. So thank you again.